Let's see. I don't know if I'm live or not because I made a little mistake here. Let me see if I'm showing up. Oh yes, I guess I am. Okay. Alrighty. I don't know if I'm live or not because I made a little mistake. This. Okay. All right. Okay, welcome to Learn English with Audiobooks. Sorry about the awkward start, but I made a little mistake when I was setting this up today. I wasn't sure if I actually was on. I guess I am. All right, today we're going to read through Chapter 6 of Sherlock Holmes, Sign of 4, okay? But the thing that is different about this video is that we're doing it live. So if you're watching this live with me right now, you can ask questions in the chat. What does this mean? What does that mean? Ask me to explain things. If you don't, I'll still explain certain words I think you probably don't know. And explain or summarize phrases that might be a little bit confusing for you, okay? But that's just half of what we're going to do. So we'll read through the chapter. That will probably take about an hour. And then if I have a volunteer, I will bring them in through Discord, and we will go through, let's see. I'm off to a really bad start today. We will be building sentences. We will be building monster sentences with the information from the story, okay? So if you are somebody who wishes that they could build C1, C2 level sentences, this is perfect practice for you because we're just going to go step by step and build some really wonderful, amazing sentences based on the information from the story, okay? So, and if you ever want to volunteer, you just join the Discord group, and the first person to volunteer when I ask is the person who will be chosen to be the volunteer. Okay. I hope everything, I'm a little bit worried about the way I set things up today. I hope people are watching. If you're watching, leave a comment. I'm not really sure if I'm live or not. I think I might be. But then again, I think I might not be. Okay. I know what I can do. Because I don't think right now I can even see anything in the chat, so let me open up the chat on YouTube. Okay. All right. So let's get started. This is Sherlock Holmes, Sign of 4, Chapter 6. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. All right. Sherlock Holmes gives a demonstration. Now, Watson, said Holmes, rubbing his hands. So when, if you rub your hands, rubbing is kind of like this motion. So if you're rubbing your hands together, you're doing something like this. So now, Watson, said Holmes, rubbing his hands, we have half an hour to ourselves. Let us make good use of it. My case is, as I have told you, almost complete, but we must not err on the side of overconfidence. Now that's kind of an interesting word, the word err, E-R-R, and maybe you recognize that from the word error. So, if you say to err on the side of something, you're saying, well, let's make the error. We'll probably be making a mistake. So let's make the mistake on this side rather than that side. So, for example, you would see like a phrase like err on the side of caution. We're probably going to make errors. We're probably going to make mistakes. So let's make the mistake on the side of caution rather than on the side of being carefree. let's be safe. So usually when you say err on the side of something, that means like let's be safe and make the error on this side instead of the other side. Now here he says we must not err on the side of overconfidence. So he's saying let's not make the error of being overconfident. That's it's not an uncommon thing to use that phrase. It's a little more elevated, a little bit higher sort of English. Not everybody uses it, but it's not weird if you do use it. So it's a good thing to know, especially if you want to sound a little bit smarter. Simple as the case seems now, there may be something deeper underlying it. Simple, I ejaculated. Ejaculate sort of means to push out or to spit out. So it's just maybe a more interesting way of saying I said in a very quick way. Simple, I ejaculated. Surely, said he, with something of an air of a clinical professor expounding to his class. Just sit in the corner there, that your footprints may not complicate matters. Now, to work. In the first place, how did these folks come? And how did they go? The door has not been opened since last night. Just a little recap of chapter 5. They are in a room. The door was locked from the inside, and there was a man who was murdered. And now they're trying to figure out who murdered him. How did they come in? How of the window? Yes, we can is here. Hi from Alex. Oh, Alex, is that, wait, is that Alex, Egypt Alex, or is that a different Alex? I'm not sure. How of the window? He carried the lamp across to it. Muttering. Muttering is when you talk under your breath, like, right? Usually it's like angry talking, but you can't really hear it. It's like talking to yourself. Muttering his observations aloud. Yeah, so he's not angry though. I mean, he's just talking to himself, making observations, but he's not really talking to the people in the room. But addressing them to himself rather than to me. Window is snibbed on the other side. I've never seen that word snibbed before. Let's see what that means. Snibbed. I don't think that's a word that you have to ever worry about. I've never heard anybody use that word before, so you could probably live your whole life and never hear that word again. But let's just see what the definition is. Oh, even I asked ChatGPT and it says, do you mean snubbed? Snubbed is a word. I'm going to copy and paste the whole sentence. So even ChatGPT doesn't know that word. Let's see. Let's see what good old ChatGPT has to say. It means to fasten or secure with a latch or a bolt. So kind of like maybe lock almost. But like I said, I don't think that's a... Oh, it says actually it's an old Scottish word. So, you know, it's specific to Scottish English, but even then it's old and people don't really use it as far as according to ChatGPT. So again, we don't have to worry about it, but let's say it means locked. The window is locked on the inner side. No hinges. Hinges are the things that move, that attach a door to the wall. No hinges at this side. Let us open it. No water pipe near. So, you know, think like a water pipe outside that somebody could climb up. He's saying, well, there's no water pipe. I don't know how they got into the room from the window. Roof, quite out of reach. Yet a man has mounted by the window. It rained a little last night. Here is the print of a foot in mold upon the sill. The sill is like the edge of the window. The bottom edge of a window is the window sill. So he sees a footprint on the windowsill. Somebody opened the window and then they stepped on the bottom part of the window, which is called the windowsill, and left a footprint. And here is a circular muddy mark, and here again upon the floor, and here again by the table. See here, Watson, this is really a very pretty demonstration. I looked at the round, well-defined muddy discs. This is not a footmark, said I. It's something much more valuable to us. It is the impression of a wooden stump. A stump is like a thick stick, okay? So imagine if 100 years ago somebody loses their leg, probably the doctors would attach a piece of wood so that you could walk, and that would be a stump. If I hope that never happens, but if somebody gets their arm crossed off or their arm chopped off, you would probably, so it's not even wood, it's anything like maybe with a round bottom that's long, you would call this a stump. So what they're noticing is it's not a footprint on the windowsill, on the bottom part of the window, but a stump print. So this person only has one leg, and they're walking around with a stump. It is the impression of a wooden stump. You see here on the sill is the boot mark, a heavy boot, with the broad means wide, metal heel. Heel is the bottom part of the foot. This is also a heel, the heel of your palm. This is a heel, but also on your foot. This is called a heel. But they're probably talking about like on a shoe, the part that sticks out. That's the heel of a shoe. So a wide metal heel. And beside it is the mark of the timber toe. Timber means like piece of wood. So that's kind of a funny way of saying the person has a wooden leg. He's calling him a timber toe. It's kind of cute. Sometimes English people, they say something in a cute way, like they call the television the telly, and they call breakfast brekkie, and it sounds very cute. So, you know, usually when you think about somebody with a stump for a leg, that's kind of horrible, but they make it sound cute. Timber toe. It is the wooden-legged man. Quite so. But there has been someone else. Remember in a previous chapter, the father who died had a really strange fear of men with wooden legs. And one time, somebody with a wooden leg, just a stranger, came to the door looking for, I don't remember what, and the father viciously attacked him. And he had to compensate. He had to pay money to this poor man who wasn't doing anything, because of the father's irrational fear of people with wooden legs. But now they're seeing that somebody with a wooden leg killed the son. Andrew says, is telly children's word for television? It's very British, and I think that adults would definitely use it too. It sounds like a children's word because children usually talk in a very sort of cute way, but that's what I'm saying. A lot of times in the UK, they like to apply like really cute sounding words for things, you know. So an adult would say telly too, or like I said, breakfast becomes brekkie, and timber toe. That sounds cute to me. Timber just means wood. It's the wooden-legged man. Quite so, but there's been someone else, a very able and efficient ally. Could you scale that wall, Doctor? To scale something means to climb. You can scale a mountain. You can scale the stairs. Actually, in Latin languages, you have like escaleras. That means like stairs. That means like something going up. So I think that's where it comes from. But in English, when you scale something, that means you're climbing something. And so they're saying, can you climb the wall? Can you scale the wall? Oh, you can even see that in the English word escalator. Scale means climb, go up. I looked out the open window. The moon still shone brightly on that angle of the house. We were a good 60 feet from the round. 60 feet, I guess that would be something like maybe 20 meters. So they were 20 meters up, because they're trying to figure, how does someone climb in the window? Because that must be how they got into the room to kill the man. But it's 60 feet up, which is maybe around 20 meters up. So how could they get all the way up there? So we were a good 60 feet from the round, and look, where I would, I could see no foothold. So he's saying, I looked around, but I could not see any place where you could put your foot. There's no ladder, there are no stairs, there's no pipe, and there's definitely no way to, a foothold, hold your foot. There's no place to put your foot. Andrew says escalator. That's right, Andrew. Escalator, scale, go up. That's what it means. It means climb. Greetings from Myanmar. Oh, wow, that's very exotic. Myanmar? I've never met anybody from Myanmar before. Much as a crevice is like a little space, a very small space in the brickwork. So he's saying not even, so between each brick there's like a little space, and that would be a crevice. So he's saying you can't even, there's not even a crevice, there's not even a little space where you could put your foot to climb the wall. It's absolutely impossible, I answered. Without aid, it is so. But suppose you had a friend here who lowered you this good stout rope. Stout means like strong, fat. So he's saying, imagine somebody lowers a rope, a big, strong, fat rope, a stout rope. Stout, I think, mostly means strong. Which I see in the corner, securing one end of it to this great hook in the wall. Then, I think, if you were an active man, you might swarm up, wooden leg and all. So he's saying, if somebody lowered a rope from the room, and there is a rope actually in the corner of the room, then if you were healthy, if you were in good condition, then you could probably climb up the wall. Of course, in the same fashion, and your ally would draw up. Remember, we know that draw means making pictures, writing pictures, but also draw means like extract or pull, okay? So that's how they're using it here. So your ally could pull you up. Your ally could draw up the rope. He could pull the rope up, untie it from the hook, shut the window, snib it on the inside. So remember, snib means like lock the window, and get away in that way that he originally came. As a minor point, it may be noted, he continued, fingering the rope. So fingering the rope means maybe he's just touching the rope with his finger, that our wooden-legged friend, though a fair climber, was not a professional sailor. His hands were far from horny. My lens discloses more than one blood mark. So he's talking, I think, about his magnifying glass when he says my lens. especially towards the end of the rope, from which I gather that he slipped down with such velocity. Velocity means like speed, quickness. That he took the skin off his hand. So Holmes is saying, with my magnifying glass, I can see little drops of blood. And probably what happened is when he was going down, the rope, you know, did something to his hand, took the skin from his hand, which means he doesn't normally, he's not used to handling such equipment or being in such a situation. So Holmes is saying he's obviously not a sailor, because a sailor probably uses that kind of rope all the time, and it wouldn't do that sort of thing to his hand. I don't know if you remember the word, we were talking about the word callus before. Callus is like the tough skin. If you work really hard, or if you play a musical instrument, you might build calluses, like tough skin. And he's saying this man does not have calluses. He doesn't have the tough skin. Now, this is all very well, said I, but the thing becomes more unintelligible than ever. So, we know the word intelligent, right? That means smart. So intelligible means like something that maybe you could understand. You have the word, you have the able, which means can, and then you have intelligible, like can you make sense of it? If something is intelligible, it makes sense. You can understand it. If something is unintelligible, it means you cannot make sense. It does not make sense. You cannot understand it. So this is all very well, said I, but the thing becomes more unintelligible than ever. So Watson says, well, what you're saying, it makes sense, but now I'm more confused than before. Everything is more difficult to understand now. How about this mysterious ally? How came he into the room? Yes, the ally, repeated Holmes pensively. Pensive means to think. So Holmes says, yes, the ally, like he's thinking about it for a moment. That's why it says pensively. There are features of interest about this ally. He lifts the case from regions of the commonplace. So Holmes is saying it's very unique. There are things about this ally that make this a very special case. It's not a normal case. That's what commonplace means. It means just common. It means normal. I fancy, and here fancy means like I believe, I think. That's kind of a very British thing to say. Or my favorite idea is that this ally breaks fresh ground in the annals of crime in this country. Though the parallel cases suggest themselves from India, and if my memory serves me from, what is that, Senegambia? How came he then? I reiterated. So reiterate is like a fancy word for repeat, okay? So how did he come into the room? I repeated, but this is more fancy English. So he says, how came he then? I reiterated, I repeated. The door is locked. The window is inaccessible. So if something is inaccessible, you can't have access to it. There's no way that somebody can go 20 meters up, 60 feet up. There's no way to climb. It's inaccessible. Was it through the chimney? The grate is much too small. So the grate, for me, the grate is like the metal piece that covers a ventilation area. But I guess here grate means like the space in the chimney. It's not possible. The space inside the chimney is too small for a person to go down. I had already considered that possibility. How then? I persisted. You will not apply my precept? He said, shaking his head. Precept here is kind of like requirement. So, like if Holmes is looking at some evidence, he has some certain ideas or requirements that he first uses. So he's saying, "You're not applying my system," he said, shaking his head. "How often have I said to you that when you have eliminated," so this is his precept, this is one of his concepts that he applies whenever he's looking at some kind of mystery. "How often have I said to you that when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. We know that he did not come through the door, the window, or the chimney. We also know that he could not have been concealed in the room, as there is no concealment possible. Whence, then, did he come?" Many times in the past, you have this sort of suffix of "ence" that you could use to mean from. Okay, so in this word "whence," that means like from where or from when. From where did he come? I think it's from where, although that doesn't make sense because it's when. But a lot of times when, like if you say here, oh, no, it does make sense because here becomes hence. That's a word that we still use sometimes, which means from here. What are some other words like whence, hence, thence, from then? But we don't really use them anymore. You'll see it in older writing, mostly. So from where did he come? "He came through the hole in the roof," I cried. "Of course he did. He must have done so. If you will have the kindness to hold the lamp for me, we shall now extend our researches to the roof above, the secret room in which the treasure was found." He mounted the steps and seizing means taking by force, and seizing a rafter. Rafters, if you look inside the inside of a building, you have like wooden or steel beams that go across. Those are rafters. It's kind of like the skeleton of the building, the skeleton of the floor or the ceiling. So remember, there's a hole in the ceiling, and there was a hidden room where the treasure was. And so probably when Bartholomew made the hole in the ceiling, he exposed some rafters, some of the skeleton of the building. And so Holmes climbed up onto the stairs, and then he took one of the rafters to pull himself up. He mounted the steps, and seizing a rafter with either hand, he swung himself up into the garret. A garret is like a tower. Then, lying on his face, he reached down for the lamp and held it while I followed him. The chamber in which we found ourselves was about 10 feet one way, so that's like maybe 3 meters one way, and 6 the other, so that's maybe 2 meters the other. So the room is like maybe 3 meters by 2 meters. The floor was formed by the rafters, with thin lath and plaster between, so that in walking one had to step from beam to beam. All right, so the beam is like it's like a big piece of wood that usually goes across a ceiling. And what he's saying is that because this is a fake room that the father created, and he's an amateur, he's not somebody who can construct a floor or a ceiling. And what he did was, to make this secret room, he just applied some plaster. That's the white stuff that you see on a wall. And you can't walk on that. That's very weak. So if you want to walk, you have to walk from beam to beam. You can't walk in the middle, because even though it looks solid, if you walk in the middle, you'll fall through the floor. The roof ran up to an apex. An apex is like a high point. and was evidently the inner shell of the true roof, of the house. There was no furniture of any sort, and the accumulated dust of years lay thick upon the floor. "Here you are, you see," said Sherlock Holmes, putting his hand against the sloping wall. Usually you would expect a wall to go up and down, okay? But this is a sloping wall. Imagine, because it's at the top of the house where the roof is, the wall goes at an angle, and that's called a slope. And that's also how you talk about, for example, a mountain. The slope of a mountain is that diagonal angled pitch. Putting his hand against the sloping wall. This is a trap door. A trap door, that would be like a secret door. Let's say that it means a secret door. This is a trap door which leads out onto the roof. I can press it back, and here's the roof itself, sloping at a gentle angle. This, then, is the way by which number 1 entered. Let us see if we can find one other traces of his individuality. So he's saying, let's see if we can find out something else unique about him. He held down the lamp to the floor, and as he did so, I saw for the second time that night a startled, surprised look come over his face. So he's saying, startled means like this, like surprised, almost scared, maybe. To start, actually, this is funny, we're talking about draw. Draw means making pictures, but it also means to pull something out. And to start, we know, means to begin, but it also means to jump. And so if somebody is startled, they got so scared they jumped. That's pretty unusual for Sherlock Holmes to be startled or scared, right? So for the second time in the night, Watson saw that Holmes was startled or scared, so scared he jumped. For myself, as I followed his gaze is like somebody looking, a concentrated look. So Watson followed his gaze. What are you looking at? My skin was cold under my clothes. The floor was covered thickly with the prints of a naked foot. So somebody was naked means not wearing clothes. So a naked foot means he wasn't wearing any shoes. Clear, well-defined, perfectly formed, but scarce half the size of those of an ordinary man. So there was a footprint. You could see clearly a footprint, but it was like half the size of an adult. "Holmes," I said in a whisper, "a child has done this horrid thing." He had recovered his self-possession in an instant. I was staggered. Staggered means to, imagine you drink a lot of alcohol, and then you walk like this. That's staggering. So again, that's another word for surprised. If you're staggered, it's because you're so surprised you go like this. It's a pretty common word for surprised. It's another way of saying I was surprised. "I was staggered for the moment," he said, "but the thing is quite natural. My memory failed me, or I should have been able to foretell it." That word "for" means in front. And you can see this a lot of times to mean prediction. So like forecast. Cast means throw, and "for" means front. So throwing in the front, it means like predict. Foresee, seeing in the front, seeing into the future, also means predict. Foretell, so say something in the front, like predict something by saying it. Or I should have been able to predict it. I should have been able to foretell it. There's nothing more to be learned here. Let us go down. What is your theory, then? As to those footmarks, I asked eagerly when he had regained the lower room once more. My dear Watson, try a little analysis yourself, said he, with a touch of impatience. You know my methods, apply them, and it will be instructive to compare the results. I cannot conceive anything which will cover the facts, I answered. It will be clear enough to you soon, he said, and in an offhand way. I think there's nothing else of importance here. Offhand means like to dismiss something. So he's pretty confident that he's seen everything. So offhand could also mean very casual. So if he says, I think there's nothing else of importance here, and he says it in an offhand way, he's really not concerned about missing anything. He's seen everything. He's very confident about that. Like, there's nothing else here. That's being offhand. Not very concerned. Very casual. But I will look. He whipped out his lens. So if you whip something out, that maybe it's in your pocket or it's in a bag or something, and you just take it out very quickly. That's whipping something out. He whipped out his lens. Let me see. It's whipping out your lens. He whipped out his lens and a tape measure and hurried about the room on his knees, measuring, comparing, examining, with his long, thin nose only a few inches from the planks. Planks are thin pieces of wood. So usually you would see that like on the floor. So they're long and thin pieces of wood, and those are called planks. And his beady eyes gleaming and deep set like those of a bird. So swift. Swift is like quick. Silent and furtive. Furtive means like secretly or hidden. So swift, silent, and furtive were his movements, like those of a trained bloodhound picking out a scent, that I could not but think what a terrible criminal he would have made had he turned his energy and sagacity against the law. Oh boy, I have to look up that word sagacity. I don't know how to define that. Sagacity. Fairly advanced, wisdom combined with good judgment and keen insight. That's a pretty fancy word. You probably won't be using it or hearing it too much. But sagacity means wisdom combined with good judgment and keen insight. So let's read that again. He would have made, had he turned his energy and sagacity against the law. Oh, okay, well, let's read the complete thought. I could not but think what a terrible criminal he would have made had he turned his energy and sagacity against the law instead of exerting them. Terrible here is sort of a compliment. It doesn't mean that he would be bad at being a criminal. It means that he would be good at being a criminal. So Watson is speculating. He's saying, oh, if Holmes were a criminal instead of a detective, then he'd be a wonderful criminal. He'd be a terrible criminal. Terrible in a good way. Instead of exerting them in its defense. As he hunted about, he kept muttering. So remember, muttering is like talking very lowly to yourself. So, he's thinking out loud and he's talking to himself. Something like that. And finally, he broke out into a loud crow of delight. We're certainly in luck, said he. We ought to have very little trouble now. Number one, had the misfortune to tread means to step, to walk, to tread, and the creosote. I have no idea what a creosote is. Let's check the meaning. It seems like it must be, oh, well, I'm not going to speculate. Let's see what that means. Creosote is a dark, oily substance obtained from wood tar or coal tar. Historically, it had several important uses. Preserving wood. Okay, so like if you were constructing a building, you probably would cover the wood in some kind of material to preserve the wood so that it doesn't rot or become weak. And so I guess that's what creosote is. But it's kind of sticky, so if somebody steps in it, then maybe it will leave a print, or maybe it would rip something from you. Let's see what he found in the creosote. You can see the outline of the edge of his small foot here at the side of this evil-smelling mess. The carboy has been cracked, you see, and the stuff has leaked out. What then? Why, we've got him, that's all, said he. I know a dog that would follow that scent to the world's end. If a pack can track a trailed herring across a shire, how far can a specially trained hound follow so pungent? Pungent means like very strong smelling. So what Holmes is saying is he stepped in this creosote, and I'm not sure about carboy, but I guess when he stepped in it, something broke and he got even more of that material on his foot. And now if he's walking, he's leaving that smell everywhere. And he's saying, I know a dog who can track that smell, who can find out where he went just because of that very strong smell. It's a pungent smell. It's a strong smell. It sounds like a sum in the rule of 3. I have no idea what that means. The answer should give us the, but hello, what are the accredited representatives of the law? I'm lost. I don't know what they're talking about here. Heavy steps and the clamor of loud voices were audible. Oh, okay, I see. Wait a minute, let's read that again. Okay, the answer should give us the, but hello, here are the accredited representatives of the law. So he's saying the police have arrived. Heavy steps and the clamor. Quite so. They are in a state of extreme contraction, far exceeding the usual rigor mortis. Rigor mortis is what happens when somebody dies. Their muscles become very, very difficult to move. So after somebody is dead for 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know how many hours, it becomes very difficult to move like their arms, for example, because the muscles become tight. So when he says that they're in a state of extreme contraction, far exceeding the usual rigor mortis, they're saying this is not like normal rigor mortis. There's something different about this. Coupled with this distortion of his face, this Hippocratic smile, or risus sardonicus. So risus, that means smile. Sardonicus, I guess, means like, could be like sarcastic or something like that. Because remember, this man died with a weird smile on his face. Risus sardonicus, the old writers called it. What conclusion would it suggest to your mind? Death from some powerful vegetable alkaloid, I answered, some strychnine-like substance which could produce tetanus. So they're saying that this is not, he's not just stiff, he's not just not moving because he died, and he's got a really weird facial expression. Remember, there was a prick behind his ear on his neck. So somebody shot some kind of poison into him. Remember, they pulled out a thorn. And now they're saying that his stiffness is not because of death, but because of some kind of poison. I saw the drawn muscles of the face. Remember, drawn means pulled back. So the drawn muscles of the face doesn't mean the face was drawing a picture. It means the muscles are pulling back the face. Which is why they're saying, oh, it looks like he's smiling. On getting into the room, I at once looked for the means by which the poison had entered the system. As you saw, I discovered a thorn which had been driven or shot with no great force into the scalp. You observed that the part that struck was that which would be turned towards the hole in the ceiling if the man were erect in his chair. Let me read that again. You observed that the part that struck, strike means hit, was that which would be turned towards the hole in the ceiling. So he's saying that obviously the man looked up towards the ceiling and somebody blew the poison dart or poison thorn into him, and you can see the angle that it hits. That was obviously the position. So the man looked up, and then somebody blew the poison thorn into his neck, and that's obvious from the angle and the position of where the poison hit. Now examine the thorn. I took it up gingerly and held it in the light of the lantern. It was long, sharp, and black, with a glazed look near the point, as though some gummy means like sticky, like bubble gum. So there was something sticky on the point that had dried upon it. The blunt end, so if you think of a thorn, you've got a sharp end, that's where the point is, and blunt is the opposite of sharp. So you've got like a round or not sharp part, and then you've got a very sharp part for the thorn. Had been trimmed and rounded off with a knife. Is that an English thorn? He asked. No, it certainly is not. With all these data, you should be able to draw some just inference. So here we have the word draw again, and it means take from. It doesn't mean make a picture. So he's saying with all of this information, you should be able to take some inference. You should be able to get some kind of idea of what happened from the evidence. Draw some just inference. But here are the regulars. So the auxiliary forces may beat a retreat. Okay, now he's using army terminology. The regulars are like everyday soldiers, not very important, nobody with a title. Those are the regulars. The word auxiliary means help or support. And so here we've got, so the auxiliary forces, the helping forces, the helping soldiers may beat a retreat. I'm not sure what he means by beat a retreat. Okay, but as he spoke, the steps which had been coming nearer sounded loudly on the passage. And a very stout, we've seen that word already, again, here it is again, which means strong. A very stout, portly is a polite word for fat. So this is a very strong, but also kind of fat man in a gray suit, strode heavily in. To stride means to walk. Stride, strode. I don't know what the past participle of stride is. Stridden? Stride, strode. Let me ask ChatGPT. It's an irregular verb. Stride, strode. I think stridden, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody use that past participle before. Let's see. Yeah, stridden. He has stridden across the room, but it's not common. I don't think you ever use that. Stride, maybe. Strode, maybe. Okay. As he spoke, The steps, which had been coming nearer, sounded loudly in the passage. A stout, portly man in a gray suit strode heavily into the room. He was red-faced, burly. Burly again kind of means fat. And plethoric. I have no idea what plethoric means. The word plethora means many or a lot. But let's see what plethoric means. That would not be a word that you would ever have to think about using in real life. People would say, what? What are you talking about, plethoric? Okay, let's see. It's an adjective. Having too much of something. Excessive, overabundant. Okay. Medical origin. Plethoric was a medical term meaning to have excess blood and or bodily fluids. Okay. So maybe it could be used as a medical term, but a normal person would not use it. Plethora, which means a lot, is a word. It's kind of fancy. It means a lot. There was a plethora of people on the subway. You could say that instead of there were a lot of people on the subway, but that would sound very strange. Most people wouldn't talk like that. With a pair of very small twinkling eyes. Remember, twinkling means like reflecting light, giving little reflections of light. So twinkling eyes, that's somebody with eyes that like to give a lot of light. It's usually kind of a nice thing. Looked keenly out from between swollen and puffy pouches. So pouches is like bags. And swollen means like it's bigger than it should be. And puffy also means like bigger than it should be. Watch me puff my cheeks. So if somebody has puffy cheeks, they have cheeks that go out. And swollen, like if you hit something, it becomes bigger than it should be. And that's swelling or swollen. So this is a very fat man. And his face is described as puffy pouches. So maybe he's got big fat cheeks. He was closely followed by an inspector in uniform and by the still palpitating Thaddeus. Palpitating is like uneven beats. So if your heart is palpitating, it's maybe making like kind of uneven, weird beats. And, Thaddeus is a very nervous person. So when he describes him as palpitating, he still can't believe what's happening, and he's still panicking. His heart is probably not beating irregularly, but does that mean irregular? I just want to make sure. Maybe it just means beating very loudly. I better make sure about that, because I don't know. I just know a lot of times in movies, the time you see it is like in movies when doctors are talking, oh no, her heart is palpitating. Or, now I can't think of the other way to use it. To beat, to throb, so it just means pound rapidly or forcefully. So it doesn't mean uneven. I was thinking it could be uneven. But it just means strong or rapid. Okay, but we've got the palpitating Thaddeus. His heart is still beating. He's still panicking over all of this excitement. Here's a business, he cried in a muffled, husky voice. Muffled means something is covering. This is muffled. Muffled is like this. He cried in a muffled, and husky means big and strong or fat. Here's a pretty business, but who are all of these? Why, the house seems to be as full of it as a rabbit's warren. So a rabbit warren, that's where rabbits live. You think about how rabbits like to multiply. So if the house is as full as a rabbit's warren, it's really full of people. I think you must recollect me, Mr. Athelney Jones, said Holmes, quietly. Why, of course I do, he wheezed. Wheezing is it's that kind of noise, like if somebody is sick, they make a noise when they breathe. And this inspector, he's very fat. So, and he just walked up a lot of stairs. So, Why, of course I do. Like that, as wheezing. It's Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the theorist. Remember you? I'll never forget how you lectured us all on causes and inferences and effects in the Bishopgate jewel case. So I think this detective doesn't like him. It's true you set us on the right track, but you'll own now it was more by good luck than good guidance. So he's saying, okay, yeah, you were right about this jewel robbery case, but that was just luck. It wasn't because you know what you're talking about. It was a piece of very simple reasoning. Holmes is defending himself. Oh, come now, come. Never be ashamed to own up. To own up means to take responsibility. So the detective is saying, oh, come on, take responsibility. It was just luck. You don't know what you're talking about. Own up. Take responsibility. But what is all this? Bad business. Bad business. Stern facts here. No room for theories. How lucky that I happened to be out at Norwood over another case. I was at the station when the message arrived. What do you think the man died of? Oh, this is hardly a case for me to theorize over. So Holmes would say, I would never make a theory about what happened to him. He has made Holmes very angry. Said Holmes dryly. So he's being sarcastic. Like, oh, I would never make a theory. That's what it means, that dryly, to be dry. No, no, still we can't deny that you hit the nail on the head sometimes. To hit the nail on the head means to be exactly right. So the detective is now saying, well, come on, give me your theory, because we know that sometimes you could be very right about things. Dear me, door locked, I understand. Jewels worth $500,000, missing. How was the window fastened? Fastened means locked, connected. But there are steps on the sill. So remember, the sill is like the bottom part of the window. Well, well, if it was fastened, the steps could have nothing to do with the matter. So the detective is saying, well, if the window is locked, then who cares about the footprints on the sill? That's common sense. Man might have died in a fit. A fit maybe means like he went crazy, or maybe he had like a heart attack or something like that. But then the jewels are missing. Ha! I have a theory. These flashes come upon me at times. So this is the detective trying to sound smart in front of Holmes. Just step outside, Sergeant, and you, Mr. Sholto, you friend, can remain. What do you think of this, Holmes? Sholto was on his own confession with his brother last night. The brother died in a fit, so maybe the brother had a heart attack. On which Sholto walked off with the treasure. So he thinks the brother just happened to die of a heart attack, and then his brother went and took the treasure and hid it somewhere. How's that? On which the dead man very considerately got up and locked the door on the inside. So they're poking holes in the detective's theory. So then the dead man got up and locked the door from the inside? There's a flaw there. A flaw means like a little mistake or a little imperfection. Bill Kinnem, or Bilky NM, says, is there a place that you can announce where your lecture is? I'm not sure what your question is. Are you wondering what time do I do it? I'm trying to do the Sherlock Holmes around this time whenever I can. Unfortunately, I'm very busy at this time of the day, and this was the first chance I got to do it. But I'm trying to keep it at around the same time. So if that was your question, yeah, that's really, whenever I have the time, at this time of the day is when I would do this. I have other videos that I'm doing. For example, I plan to do an English for Nerds video in about 6 or 7 hours. and that will be about the periodic table. That would be about biology and chemistry. But the Holmes, the audiobook, I try to do this at the same time every day. Well, if I have time, if I'm not busy. Okay, so now the detective is making his theory. Well, the Bartholomew died of a fit. He died of like a heart attack or something, and then Thaddeus, the brother, took the treasure and hid it somewhere, and that's what happened. And then Holmes or Watson says, "Well, so what? The dead man got up and locked the door from the inside," and now the detective is saying, well, that is a little flaw. A flaw is like a little mistake, a small imperfection. So he's not even willing to say that, oh, this is a really stupid idea. He just says, oh, I made a little mistake. There is a flaw there. Let us apply common sense to the matter. This Thaddeus Sholto was his brother. There was a quarrel. A quarrel is another way to say an argument or a fight. So much we know. So that's what we know. The brother is dead and the jewels are gone. So much we also know, or so much also we know. So we also know this. No one saw the brother from the time Thaddeus left him. His bed had not been slept in. Thaddeus is evidently a most disturbed state of mind. His appearance is, well, not attractive. You see that I am weaving my web around Thaddeus. So weaving is when you connect strings. So like weaving is how you make cloth, like how you would make a shirt or how you would make pants. First you weave the strings together to make a cloth. A spider weaves a web. So a spider connects little strings and makes a web. That's what weaving is. So the detective is saying, I'm weaving a web. He's trying to sound clever. You see, the Thaddeus had a fight. Nobody saw the brother after Thaddeus and the brother had a fight. The bed has not been slept in. You see the web I'm weaving? That's what he's talking about. The net begins to close. The net begins to close upon him. You're not quite in possession of the facts yet, said Holmes. So Holmes is saying, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know everything yet. The splinter of wood, which I have every reason to believe, poisoned. Splinter means like a little piece of wood. Earlier it was described like a thorn. Now they're describing it as a splinter. It's really the same thing, a little piece of wood. Which I have every reason to believe, poisoned, was in the man's scalp. This is your scalp, the top of your head, the skin at the top of your head, where you still see the mark. I thought it was the neck before, but now he's saying scalp. I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. Maybe I'm wrong. Not wrong about scalp. This is definitely your scalp, the top of your head. But where they said the thorn was, or the splinter. This card, inscribed as you see it, was on the table, and beside it lay this rather curious stone-headed instrument. How does all that fit into your theory? Confirms it in every respect, said the fat detective, pompously. Now they're calling him fat. Before they were using polite words like stout and portly. Now they're just saying fat. That's kind of funny. And pompous means like arrogant. So suddenly we're using very negative words to describe the detective. So he goes from the stout detective, the portly detective, the husky detective. Those all are very polite words for fat. And now it's just the fat detective who's pompous, which means arrogant. House is full of Indian curiosities. Thaddeus brought this up. And if this splinter be poisonous, Thaddeus may well have made murderous use of it as any other man. So they're saying, how do you describe, how do you explain that weird stone statue? And the detective says, well, the house is full of weird, interesting things. So maybe Thaddeus brought it up. And if there was a poison splinter or thorn in his scalp, maybe Thaddeus did that too. The card is some hocus pocus. Hocus pocus, that's like a phrase that a magician would say, like, I'm going to make a rabbit appear. Hocus pocus. Okay, so it's like a magical phrase. But you can use hocus pocus to mean something ridiculous, like some kind of trick that somebody is trying to do. So when he says the card is some kind of hocus pocus, he's saying, oh, the card, that's some kind of trick or distraction, somebody trying to trick us, I think. So let's see what it says. The card is some hocus pocus, a blind, as like as not. So that's kind of hard to decipher, but I think what he's saying is, oh, that card is like a, imagine if you watch a crime movie or a crime television show, sometimes the bad person, like the murderer or the robber, they'll leave like a little clue. So when the police come, they'll look at this and say, oh, the thief or the murderer was a woman because there's a, I don't know, like lipstick or something. But that's not true. The thief did that on purpose to trick them. And I think that's what, it's a little weird the way this is worded, but I think that's what it means here. The card is some kind of hocus pocus, some kind of trick, a blind, as like as not. So that as like as not means like, that's a very strong probability that it's just a trick, with no explanation as to why. The only question is, how did he depart? So how did the murderer leave? Ah, of course. Here is a hole in the roof, with great activity. Considering his bulk, again, bulk is another way of saying big or fat. Considering his bulk, he was very heavy. He sprang up the steps and squeezed through the garret, into the garret, and immediately afterwards we heard his exulting voice proclaiming that he had found the trap door. Ah. So now he's looking in through the hole. Ah, I found the trap door. I found the hidden door. He can find something, remarked Holmes, shrugging his shoulders. This is shrugging your shoulders. I don't know. That's shrugging your shoulders. So I asked John what time the train left, and he just shrugged his shoulders. That's like a physical way of saying, I don't know. He has occasional glimmerings of reason. Il n'y a pas de sot si incommode. Okay, so we've got some French here. Que ce qui compte de l'esprit. I don't even know what that means. Let's see. There aren't... Oh, I'm just going to copy and paste and ask for a translation. Let's see. What does it mean? There are no fools more troublesome than those who are intelligent. So Holmes is making fun of the detective in French. He's saying that he's not completely stupid, and that's the worst kind of fool, because they think that they're smart. The modern term for this would be midwit. Somebody who is a midwit. A dimwit is a stupid person. Wit means like intelligence. So a dimwit means not very much intelligence. Dim means very little light. A midwit is someone who has some intelligence, but they're not smart enough. They think they're smart, but they're not smart enough. And that's kind of an insult in modern language. You might see that on the internet sometimes. People talking about midwits. You see, said Athelney Jones, reappearing down the steps again, facts are better than mere theories after all. My view of the case is confirmed. There's a trap door communicating with the roof, and it's partly open. It was I who opened it. Oh, indeed? You did notice it then. So he's really insulting Holmes. He seemed a little crestfallen. Crestfallen means disappointed. It's not a very common word. If you use that word, then people will say, wow, you have such a fancy vocabulary. He seemed a little crestfallen at the discovery, so he was disappointed that Holmes had noticed the trap door, the hidden door. Whoever noticed it, it shows how our gentleman got away, Inspector. Yes, sir, from the passage. Ask Mr. Sholto to step this way. Mr. Sholto, it is my duty to inform you that anything which you may say will be used against you. I arrest you in the Queen's name, and being concerned in the death of your brother. There now, didn't I tell you? Cried the poor man. So the inspector is arresting the brother. Throw out his hands, and looking from one to the other of us, don't trouble yourself about it, Mr. Sholto, said Holmes. I think that I can engage to clear you of the charge. So Holmes is saying, don't worry, don't be, you're not really under arrest. I can clear you of the charge. I can prove you didn't do it. Don't promise too much, Mr. Theorist. Don't promise too much, snapped the detective. Snapping is like this is snapping, but like if you have an animal that does this, like, oh, that's like also snapping, like, oh, nice little doggy, and then you go to the doggy and the doggy goes, oh, like almost, doesn't really bite you, but almost bites you, and it's very quick. That's snapping. If somebody says something in a short, angry way, like think of the dog, oh, they snap at you. That's like saying, being very, very unkind to you. So the detective snapped at him. Oh, don't be too sure about that. He did that in a very aggressive way. You may find it harder a matter than you think. Not only will I clear him, Mr. Jones, but I will make you a free present of the name and description of one of the two people who were in this room last night. So Holmes is saying, well, not only will I clear him of this accusation, not only will I prove he didn't do it, but right now I can even give you one of the names of the murderers. There were two people, and Holmes says he already has the name of one of them. His name, I have every reason to believe, is Jonathan Small. He is a poorly educated man, small, active, with his right leg off, and wearing a wooden stump which is worn away upon the inner side. His left boot has a coarse, square-toed sole, with an iron band around the heel. He is a middle-aged man, much sunburned, and has been a convict. So a convict means someone who has spent a lot of time in prison. These few indications may be of some assistance to you. I'm starting to lose my voice. Coupled with the fact that there's a good deal of skin missing from the palm of his hand. The other man, asked Athelney Jones in a sneering voice. Sneering is when you feel that the people in front of you are superior to them, you're better than them, you sneer at them. So usually sneering is a look like I'm better than you. But if you talk in that way, if you sneer at somebody with your voice, you're trying to make them sound inferior. So, the other man, talking to Holmes like he doesn't really know what he's doing, like he knows better than Holmes. But impressed nonetheless. So he doesn't like Holmes, but he's still impressed with the information that Holmes can provide him, as I could easily see by the precision of the other's manner. is a rather curious person, said Sherlock Holmes, turning upon his heel. I hope before very long to be able to introduce you to the pair of them. A word with you, Watson. He led me out to the head of the stair. This unexpected occurrence, he said, has caused us rather to lose sight of the original purpose of our journey. I've just been thinking so, I answered. So Holmes is saying the death. I mean, remember when they first came to the house, the reason was to recover part of the treasure for Miss Marston. But suddenly they're involved in this murder. So Holmes is saying, look, sorry, one second. So Holmes is saying, look, the reason we came here was to help Miss Marston get money. Now we're involved in this murder. What do we do? And Watson was thinking the same thing. I've just been thinking so, I answered. It's not right that Miss Marston, not Marston, should remain in this stricken house. Stricken means hit. If you could be stricken with an illness, but I think that means like hit with an illness. Like he was stricken with the flu. That sounds very dramatic, actually. It should be a stronger thing, like stricken with COVID, I guess you could say, something like that. But here I think stricken means like cursed, like horrible things are happening in this house, this stricken house. Horrible things have hit this house. Strike, struck, stricken means hit. This house is hit with bad energy or bad things. This stricken house. No, you must escort her home. She lives with Mrs. Cecil Forrester in Lower Camberwell. So it's not very far. I'll wait for you here if you will drive out again. Or perhaps you're too tired. By no means. That means not at all. No, I'm not tired. By no means. I don't think I could rest until I know more of the fantastic business. I've seen something of the rough side of life, but I give you my word that this quick succession of strange surprises tonight has shaken my nerve completely. I should like, however, to see the matter through with you, now that I have got so far. Your presence will be of great service to me, he answered. We shall work the case out independently. So working out is a phrasal verb. That means like find the answer through work. If you work out a problem, you're finding the answer, but we also know that it's going to take some kind of work to do it. So we shall work the case out independently. You and me, Watson, we're going to work really hard and find the answer to this independently. We won't share our information with the police. We won't really cooperate with the police. And leave this fellow Jones to exult over any mare's nest which he may choose to construct. When you've dropped Miss Morstan, I wish you to go to number 3 Pinchin Lane, down near the water's edge at Lambeth. The third house on the right side, is a bird stuffer's. Sherman is the name. You'll see a weasel holding a young rabbit in the window. So a bird stuffer, I guess they're talking about a taxidermist. What a taxidermist does is they take like a dead animal and then they stuff it with I don't know what material, and then you have like you preserve the body of the animal and you can see it for hundreds of years. It just stays the same. So you can do that to birds or lions or tigers or a rhinoceros or an elephant. You can you kill the animal and then somehow you preserve the body perfectly. And that's why a weasel is some kind of like a mouse or something. Let me find a picture of a weasel. I can't show you the pictures. I can't figure out how to do pictures on here yet. Yeah, a weasel is kind of like a mouse. It looks similar to a mouse. So you'll see a weasel holding a young rabbit in the window. It was very popular in Victorian times. They would kill animals and then they would preserve them perfectly and then put them in very strange situations. So that's what he's saying. That's why he's saying you'll see a weasel, like a mouse, holding a young rabbit in the window. They're real. Taxidermist is the name, but here Holmes just calls it a bird stuffer. Knock old Sherman up and tell him with my compliments that I want Toby at once. You will bring Toby back in the cab with you. A dog, I suppose. Yes, a queer mongrel. Queer means strange. Mongrel means mongrel means like mix of things. So, you know, like with animals, a lot of times you want like a pure animal. So they're like pure dogs, like pure German Shepherd or pure Doberman Pinscher or pure Beagle. But a lot of times the animals will mix, like a German Shepherd will mix with a Beagle, and you'll get some weird looking dog that doesn't look like anything. And that would be a mongrel. That's not a nice word, okay? And sometimes they apply it to people also who are mixed. But it's not a nice thing to say about a dog or a person. So a strange mongrel, a strange mix of different kinds of dogs, a queer mongrel. With a most amazing power of scent, I would rather have Toby's help than the whole detective force of London. I shall bring him then, said I. It is 1 now, so it's 1 a.m. I ought to be back before 3, if I can get a fresh horse. And I, said Holmes, shall see what I can learn from Mrs. Burnstone, and from the Indian servant who, Mr. Thaddeus tell me, sleeps in the next garret. So remember, garret means like tower. Then I shall study the great Jones's methods and listen to his not too delicate sarcasms. So he's being sarcastic here. He doesn't think that the Detective Jones is great, but he says, I shall study the great Jones's methods. So he's probably going to be making fun of him. And listen to his not too delicate sarcasms. So he's saying, and I'll listen to his insults, which are not very subtle. They're not very delicate. They're very obvious. Jones likes to insult Holmes, and he doesn't try to cover it. It's very obvious. Okay, and then we end with some German. Let's translate this and see what it says. And I think that we're almost done. Yeah, I think we're done with the chapter after this. But don't go anywhere, because now we're going to practice making some monster sentences. But first, let's translate whatever this Goethe quotation is. I won't even try to pronounce it. All right, so this German saying by Goethe, who I think was a philosopher or a writer in Germany in the 19th century, people are in the habit of ridiculing what they don't understand. So this quotation means that people usually insult things they don't understand. So he's referring to Detective Jones. Detective Jones is very insulting towards Holmes, but that's because he doesn't understand him. So that's why that quotation is there. Okay. All right, so let's see. Do we have a volunteer? Alex, are you still here? Do you want to volunteer? Pachu, maybe here? Anybody? Any volunteers? If we don't have any volunteers, I will just build the sentences with you by myself. Okay, I'm just going to go away for a moment. I'm just going to take a 1-minute break, and then I will be back. Oh wait, let's see. I think I got yeah, Alex is volunteering. So when I return in just 1 minute, Alex will join us from Discord. If you ever want to volunteer, there's a link to the Discord group in the description. And the rule is whoever volunteers first at the right time when I ask for a volunteer is the person who we pick. And we have Alex who's going to join us in a moment. And we're going to practice building really big C1, C2 sort of level sentences. Okay, we're going step by step. We start with a verb, and then we We build with some adjectives, some relative clauses, some adverbs, and we make really amazing sentences. And we explore different kinds of vocabulary that could be useful. So this is really the fun part. Well, not that the first part wasn't fun, but this is really the part where you can work some magic. Okay, so I'm just going away for one moment. I'll be back, and then we will practice making some monster sentences. Okay. Okay, we're back. Now let me see. I'm going over to Discord. I'll try to bring Alex in. Let's see. How can we call Mr. Alex? That's not it. Start a call. Let's see if that works. Okay. I think I'm calling him. Hello? Can you hear me?
Sure, yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. Oh, we did it. I finally did it after like video number 6. I'm finally getting the hang of it, I think. I don't know. Okay. All right, so we've got Alex joining us. And now we are going to, first we're going to look at a scene. Actually, this scene is not, I think this scene is in the next chapter. But anyway, doesn't matter. This is what we're going to be using. Well, maybe I better bring this picture into you through Discord. But you can see the picture, right, in the video?
Mhm.
Okay. What is happening in picture number one? What do you see happening in picture number one?
I think he is found something and he starts to look in it. What's he holds something in his hand. I can't see it
Yeah,
exactly what it is.
it looks like a stick. It looks like a stick or something like that. Maybe that's supposed to be the
Mhm.
thorn, but that's too big to be the thorn. The caption says, Holmes let Toby is the dog, smell the creosote-soaked peg. So a peg is like a long piece of wood. Or not a long piece of wood, but like a round piece of wood, or like a round stick. Watson and Inspector Jones watched curiously. So creosote, that's the material to preserve the wood, but I guess it's sticky, and the murderer stepped in it. So the dog is smelling that odor. Okay, how about in picture number two? What do you see in picture number two, which should be coming up? I'm watching the delay here. Oh, it's still okay. Now we've got picture number two. I don't know if you can see that, but
Not yet.
what does it look like they're doing in picture number two?
I haven't seen it yet. No, it's not.
Oh, you don't?
It's not in there.
Okay, because on
No.
YouTube, I mean, I'm watching the YouTube delay, and it seems like it's okay. But okay, I was trying to avoid doing the pictures because I don't know where I have the original picture. But let me do this. I'm going to put. Let me make myself disappear, and I'll take a screenshot of this, and maybe that will be easier to see. Whoops, not that. Wait. Okay.
Take your pick.
Hopefully this would be enough. I'm putting everything in Discord. Okay, can you see? Is that better? Let's see. Can you make that big? Oh yeah, I think that's better. You can see that. You can make it big. Okay, so I'll just put this stuff back. Okay, so what is happening in picture number two?
Picture number two, he is walking with his dog. I think the dog tried to find find something or no, just try to catch up any.
What kind of verb do you think? What kind of verb do you think you could use for what the dog is doing?
Search.
I think.
Searching.
Do you know? I think I would use the word tracking. Like the dog is tracking the scent.
Yeah.
Or what is this action? What is that action?
Or what do you mean, sniffing?
Yeah, sniffing. Sniffing. Yeah, he's sniffing. Yeah. Okay. What does the caption say in picture number two? Can you read it?
Toy confidently led them through the streets. People were stopped to watch as they passed by.
Okay. How about in picture number three? I guess picture number three doesn't give us much more information. It looks like the same thing. But maybe we could just read the caption, since I don't think there's much to say about the picture.
Okay, they hurried through the lines and the crowded market.
Yeah, they hurried through. They hurried through alleys and crowded markets.
Okay, they hurried through alleys and the crowded markets. Toby never hesitated. Hesitated. That's too small to read.
Okay.
Hesitated. John was beginning to be impressed. Impressed.
Yeah, this is too small. They hurried through alleys and crowded markets. Toby never hesitated. Jones was beginning to be impressed. Okay. How about in picture number four? Where does it look like they are in picture number four? Seems like they're down by the river.
Yes, the river behind them. Yeah, there is a river behind them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. So
And
we think.
go ahead.
I can't read it.
Oh, okay. I'll read it for you. So, Toby led them to a timber yard. What does the word timber mean? Do you know what that word timber means?
A timber, like a timber means wood, but there's an
Yeah.
expression here. You lost your temper, like you lost your
Oh, no, no, not temper. This is not temper. It's
temper.
timber. 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 It's a different word.
Okay.
Different sounds.
Timber. Okay.
Uh-huh. So timber yard, that's a yard for wood, where they make wood for maybe building things. On the banks of the, I can't even read that. Workers stop their work to watch. The words are a little bit confused there. I don't know what that says. Okay, let's just move on to picture number 5. What does it say there?
To be suddenly stopped, the scent ended at a river edge. I can't.
Okay, Toby suddenly stopped. The scent ended, so that no more smell. He couldn't continue tracking at the river's edge. Holmes realized the criminals had escaped by boat. Okay. And then finally, in picture number 6, what do we see in picture number 6?
The rail does not end there, Jones. It continues straight across the Thomas.
Yeah, if you click on the picture in Discord, it can become very, very big. I guess you're reading it like in this small way, but if you click on it, it can become pretty big. But anyway, for future reference, I guess. We don't need it now. Let's just, let me close Discord.
Yeah.
So maybe for next time. So
and instead of giving up, how Holmes explained his theory. Everyone understood that the chase was far from over.
Okay, so everyone understood the chase was not really over. The chase was not very finished. It's just started. Okay, so let's move to frame number 1. And we've got 3 verbs here. We're looking at the picture. I'm going to put the vocabulary words in Discord for you. We're going to start with a verb. And our first verb is scrutinize. 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 What does that verb mean, scrutinize?
If you scrutinize something, you spoil it, or you make it bad, or is that right?
Scrutinize means to look very carefully at something, to try to find maybe the features of something or the faults of something. Scrutinize means to look at something very, very carefully. Okay, so if we look at picture number 1, and I'm just going to, whoops, wait a minute. Oh no. I'm trying to get a big picture for, a big screenshot picture for you for Discord. Wait, I'm going to have to close everything. I'm getting myself confused. Okay, so I'm putting picture number 1 in Discord so you can see it. And how would you use the word scrutinize to describe picture number 1?
He scrutinized the form.
Okay.
Or the evidence.
He's scrutinized, let's say the evidence. I don't know if that's a thorn, a stick.
Mm.
Here they called it a peg. It's getting a little bit confusing. But let's,
By the way, last time,
uh-huh.
I think you've mentioned the thorn within his neck, not
Yeah,
in his head.
that's
But
what I thought.
today it's
So you noticed that too. I mean, I was pretty sure that last time they said the neck, but this time they said the
within
scalp.
the neck, yeah.
The scalp is like the top of your head. It's not your neck. So I don't know if I just like assumed it was the neck and I was wrong, or if they changed. That would be really weird if they changed it.
I'm going to go over it again. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
will listen to the rest of the video.
Okay, so but let's make this sentence. So Holmes scrutinized the evidence.
The evidence.
Yeah. So that means that he looked very closely at it. He looked very carefully
Mhm.
and closely at the evidence. That's to scrutinize something. Okay. How about inspect? Okay, I guess that's a pretty easy one, isn't it? But we'll just do it anyway. How would you use inspect in this very same sentence?
Yeah. Oh, you just want to replace the scrutinize with an inspect, or just build up a new sentence?
Well, I can't think of another way to use inspect. Could you? We probably just have to replace it.
He inspected the evidence. Okay.
Okay, he inspected the evidence. He inspected the evidence. And maybe, you know, since we're starting with such a basic sentence, maybe it would be a good idea to focus on the accentuation of the words. What are the important words in that sentence? Which words would get attention, do you think?
Scrutinized, inspected.
Yeah, and evidence,
Evidence, yeah.
So, inspected. The accented syllable is spec.
Inspected.
Evidence.
Inspected. The evidence, yeah.
Yeah. So let's just practice that rhythm for a moment. He inspected the evidence.
He inspected the evidence.
Yeah. So that would be good. How about with scrutinized the evidence? Can you say that also?
He scrutinized the evidence.
He scrutinized the evidence. That's the natural rhythm.
Scrutinized the evidence.
That's a natural rhythm of the sentence. Okay. I think we could use present if we made a passive voice sentence. How do you think? So, go ahead.
The evidence was presented, right? No.
Yeah. The evidence was presented to who? Who received the evidence?
To Sherlock Holmes.
To who?
Mr. Holmes.
To Holmes?
Sherlock
Okay,
Holmes.
to Holmes. Okay, we'll just say to Holmes. All right. So the evidence was presented to Holmes. So which words am I focusing on in that phrase? The evidence was presented to Holmes.
The evidence presented to Holmes.
So evidence presented in Holmes, they get the big sounds.
Okay.
All right, which one do you think that we should use to build our monster sentence? Do you think we should use scrutinized, inspected, or was presented?
We can use the evidence presented. The evidence was presented to Holmes.
Okay.
And he scrutinized it.
Oh, okay. You want to, and he scrutinized it. Let's avoid right now the adverbs because probably we will have our own adverbs to put in there later.
Okay.
So we can say, but the evidence was presented to Holmes and he scrutinized it. This is really going to be a pretty monster sentence here. Can you now just try to read that, but focus on the big sounds, just to flatten out your accent a little bit. So the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized it.
The evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized it.
Okay, and he scrutinized it. Scrutinized it. Screw. This is a word that we want to focus on. Scrutinized it. Scrutinized. In a lot of places in the UK, they will pronounce a very strong T, and they will say scrutinized. But I have a North American accent, and instead of pronouncing a T, I do a little cough. I say scrutinized it. Scrutinized it.
They got it the gloss T.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a sound. Isn't that a sound in Arabic too? Don't you do that kind of sound sometimes in Arabic?
I think.
Yeah, it's kind of a sound. We do it in English too. Sometimes. Some people do that with their T's, like me. Okay, so let's move up to some time expressions. So we'll just add a time expression. I'll copy these into the Discord for you so you can see them quickly. And the first one that we have is at daybreak. Okay, have you seen that before? At daybreak. What does that mean? At daybreak.
I know that. I know that expression, but I can't remember. Daybreak is like at the middle of the day, or
at the beginning of the day. When the day breaks. When the day breaks is the moment that the sun comes up. The moment that you can see the sun. That's daybreak. Can you use that? Let's use that at the beginning of the sentence. How would that sentence sound?
At the daybreak, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized. Scrutinized.
Okay, but don't lose your accentuation. Okay, keep that accentuation. Try to keep that going. So, in this phrase, at daybreak, if you have two words combined, it will almost always be the first word that gets the attention. So listen to my ups and downs. At daybreak, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized it.
Okay. At daybreak, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized it.
Okay, good. How about the next one, letter B, at the outset of the investigation? So that means like at the beginning of the investigation.
At the beginning. Okay. At the outset of the investigation, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized it.
And I can hear you. I can hear that you're saying at the outset of the investigation. I hear that, and that's really good. That's what you should be doing. Big and small, big and small. At the outset of the investigation, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized it. Okay. Do you want to try it again?
That's okay. At the outset of the investigation, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized it.
Okay, that's good. Now we have one more, which is with renewed determination.
With renewed determination. Okay. With renewed determination, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he scrutinized it.
Okay, so we have three different time expressions that we can use, and which one do you choose to continue the story?
Well, I think it would be just make more sense if you at the outset of the investigation.
At the outset of the investigation. Okay. All right. So now we will move down to the adverbs. Let's see. And I'll make a copy of the adverbs for you and put them here in Discord.
Thanks.
And our first adverb is meticulously. Where do you think we could put that word, meticulously?
The evidence was presented, and he meticulously scrutinized it.
Okay, he meticulously, that T is the sound we want. Q. So remember the Adverbs always get a lot of attention, or almost always get a lot of attention in an English
Oh.
sentence. So he meticulously scrutinized it.
He meticulously scrutinized it.
Okay, so let's try the whole sentence. At the outset of the investigation, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he meticulously scrutinized it.
At the outset of the investigation, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he meticulously scrutinized it.
Okay, I don't like the word expectantly. I don't think we should use that. I'm going to get rid of that.
No,
So we'll just move to intently. What does that even mean? If you say intently, what kind of idea are you communicating?
That intently means yes, with a lot of intention.
With intention, with a lot of intention. Okay. Where could we put that? Where should we put that word? Intently.
Same place.
Okay.
Same place we kind of place it there.
Okay, so we could say he intently scrutinized it.
Yeah.
He intently.
Yeah.
Try that. Try just that phrase. He intently scrutinized it.
He intently scrutinized it.
Okay, now the whole sentence. At the outset.
Okay. At the outset of the investigation, the evidence was presented to Holmes, and he intently scrutinized it.
Okay, which one do you think we should use? Meticulously or intently? Which one is better?
I go for meticulously.
Meticulously. You like that word? You like the big words? You like Pachu and the big sentences. He likes his big sentences. You like the big words. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I don't think. Doesn't look like we could. I don't think we should use these adjectives. I think that's too much. Okay, let's just move down to the relative clauses, because I'm looking at them, and for example, do you remember this word pungent? Do you remember what that means?
Pungent, yeah, it's smell.
Yeah, a very strong smell, like a very, very strong smell.
Yeah.
And we would have to create a new sentence, and methodical. Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe too much work. Maybe we should just move on to relative clauses for this one. Okay. So, okay, what about the first relative clause, which emitted a distinctive odor of creosote? So remember, creosote, that's like some kind of thing that you put over the wood to preserve it so it doesn't go bad. And it's sticky and it smells. Some kind of oily, sticky substance.
Okay, can you please just post it in the...
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Not at all. Please.
There we go.
All right. Okay, let's see which emitted the distinctive odor of...
Creosote? I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. I don't know what it is. I just
looked it up. No, I think it's a creosote.
Creosote.
Yeah, creosote. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Creosote. Okay.
What does distinctive odor? What does that mean? Like if you say that something has a distinctive odor.
Distinctive, like if something distinctive, like it stand out, like it's strange, like.
Something you could never mistake it for something else. It's always creosote. Okay, where could we put that? Can we put that anywhere inside of the sentence? Where would be the best place? I'm sorry. While you're thinking about that, because my dog is acting like she has to go outside, so I'm just going to, for 1 second, I'm going to disappear and let her go outside. Because she's acting crazy. Whoops, that's not. So think about that. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Good news.
So is there anything there that could smell of creosote?
The evidence.
Yeah. Or it. Also it. Which is also the evidence. So I mean I think there could be two places where you could put this.
So do you want to put it at the edge?
It's up to you. Where do you think would fit better? The evidence which emitted a distinct odor of creosote, or meticulously discreet? Actually, I think it only fits after the evidence. Now that I'm thinking about it.
The evidence.
Okay, so we'll put it here.
Mm-hmm.
Which emitted. What does emit mean?
Emit means to. When you emit something, you delete or you avoid, can't avoid.
Emit means like to give out. Yeah, to give out, to give out of itself. So like radiate is kind of like radiate. Do you know the word radiate? Like a radiator.
Uh-huh.
So the evidence is emitting an odor. The evidence is giving out an odor.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you read that sentence? And again, try to pay attention to the accentuation of the important words.
Okay. The evidence was emit a distinctive odor of creosote was presented to Holmes, and he meticulously scrutinized it.
Okay, so the evidence that's emit. If a verb is regular and it ends with a T or a D, you have to add a new sound at the end. So this is not, the past pronunciation of this is not emit, but emitted, because it ends with a T. It's emitted. Emitted. Okay, so at the outset of the investigation, the evidence which emitted a distinctive odor of creosote was presented to Holmes, and he meticulously scrutinized it. Wow, okay. If we want to use letter B, we're going to have to make a new sentence, because this phrase refers to something we didn't mention in the sentence.
Do you want to give it a go?
Sure. Do you? Not really?
Yeah, that's, whose extraordinary sense of the evidence was present to his credibility.
Who are they talking about? Who are they talking about in letter B?
The evidence.
So whose extraordinary sense of smell? Who has an extraordinary sense of smell?
Oh, yeah. Holmes, yeah. Holmes.
Holmes does? Or didn't Holmes get the help of... the
dog.
The dog, Toby.
Yeah.
Could you make like a simple sentence with Toby? What did Toby do, or how did Toby help?
We mentioned the verb now, but
Yeah, that verb was used. There was a verb that they used several times in the narration of the 6 frames, of the 6 pictures, that could be useful here.
Sniff? No.
What?
Yes, a sniff?
In the captions of the picture, of the 6-frame picture that we were using, they used this verb several times, referring to Toby and what he did or how he helped. How did Toby help?
I can't remember. That's right. Tracking.
Tracking, or
tracking.
I was thinking that we could use lead.
Lead, okay.
Toby led them, or Toby led the way, or something. Does that make sense? We're just making like a very
Mm-hmm.
simple sentence, like Toby led the way. What do you think of that sentence? Does that make sense to you? Toby led the way.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean if I say Toby led the way?
Just Toby just brought them to the evidence, or
Yeah,
just to try to just guide them to the right way, or something like that.
that's right. So if we just have that very simple sentence, and I'll put that in Discord for you. Toby led the way. Where could you put this relative clause, whose extraordinary sense of smell had never failed him?
Okay, Toby led the way. Yeah, Toby, whose extraordinary sense of smell had never failed him, led the way to the evidence,
Okay.
was presented to Holmes. Okay, Holmes. Which one I do?
Extraordinary. You're adding more.
Extraordinary.
I mean, we could just say Toby, whose extraordinary sense of smell never failed him, led the way. And that could be a sentence right there.
Okay.
Never failed him, led the way. Okay. But now we've got quite a sentence. We've built 2 complex sentences already. Okay, I'm just going to copy and paste everything here. And I will ask you to read it, but remember to focus on the special words that you really want people to hear, that are really special.
Okay.
Yes, can you read it? Can you read the whole thing? But try to focus on those special sounds of the word, of the sentence.
Okay. At the outset of the investigation, the evidence which emitted a distinctive odor of the creosote was presented to Holmes. He meticulously scrutinized it. Toby, whose extraordinary sense of smell never failed him, led the way.
Okay. All right. I think let's just let's stop there, because I think the other one doesn't work too well. So, which one do you like? Do you like the first sentence or the second sentence? Let's see. We've got. Actually, I think we've just built everything. Like we can just pick this whole thing right here. It's kind of like a paragraph that we did. Okay. So we're done with frame 1, and I'm just going to try to copy this sentence and put it in a neat place, so later we can read the whole thing without much of a mess. Let me see. I'm trying to learn from my past mistakes of the other day when I tried this, and I got awfully confused. Okay, so we're moving on to frame 2, okay? And we'll start with some verbs. We're going to make a sentence. So we're going to try to narrate. Oops. We're going to try to narrate the picture of frame 2, starting with a verb. Can you see frame 2? Do you see the picture of frame 2? You've got Holmes and Toby walking through the streets of London. Here, okay. I'm going to let me just make a screenshot of it very quickly, and I'll put it up there so it will be easy to see. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Okay, so we're doing frame 2. I'm going to take a screenshot of this frame and then upload it to Discord for you, and then hopefully. Okay, can you see the picture now? All right, and we've got, these are the verbs. We've got navigate, thread one's way through, that's a good one, and trail. So let's start with navigate. We're looking at the picture, frame 2, and somehow we have to use the word navigate to talk about this scene. What could you say using navigate?
Okay. To be navigated.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
The preposition that you use with navigate usually is through.
through. Okay, navigate through the way, or through the evidence, or through the
I would think through the streets.
street. Yeah.
Does that make sense to say they navigated through the streets? Do you understand? I'm going to say they. So Holmes and Toby navigated through the streets.
Yep.
We could even say through the streets of London. Let's do that. Okay. All right. So that's a pretty good sentence already. They navigated through the streets of London. Which words do you think you would focus on? Which words would you accentuate in this sentence?
Navigated through navigated through the street of London. So navigated street London. But
Yeah.
I think it was what.
Normally you would not emphasize a preposition like through, but I almost think that this is kind of like a literal phrasal verb that we're doing here. Navigate through is kind of its own verb, 2 words together, and it's pretty literal. So in this case, you probably would want to accentuate the word through. They navigated through the streets of London.
They navigated through the streets of London.
Yeah, they navigated through the streets of London. Do you know the word thread? Thread?
Through. I can't remember, but I'm surely I came across this word a few times before.
Thread is like a piece of string. So like if you're sewing, if you're sewing something, you have to use thread. I cannot share a picture through this software, but I can show you a picture of thread on Discord. So sorry for anybody watching, but I can't. You have to just Google thread and look for a picture. But I'm just going to show you a picture of thread in Discord. Okay. So like if you have to fix clothing, you will use thread, right? This is thread.
Okay.
You see the picture?
Okay.
Okay, but we're using kind of a creative phrasal verb here, because imagine somebody sewing, right? They make a turn here and they make another turn. And eventually they make their way all the way from one place to another, from one edge to another edge with thread, right? Can you picture that? Can you imagine that? So if you were moving from left to right to left to right, it's like you're threading your way through something, kind of the way it's like you're following a string. Does that make sense? So which part of Egypt are you from?
Upper Egypt, the south.
Oh, you're from southern Egypt? Okay. There aren't any really big towns in southern Egypt, are there?
Well, I'm close to Luxor.
Oh, okay. But, like you probably for Luxor, you have like the amazing ancient city, and then you have like a kind of a modern city next to it, right? It's not really, is the city where people live, is that an old city or kind of a modern city?
There's no old city at the moment.
There is no old city?
There is no completely old city. There is an old civilization or old temples or something like that. But the modern cities are the new buildings.
You know, I imagine that Cairo could be a very confusing place. Like it has many little small streets and you have to turn left and then right and you could easily get, well, I don't know if Luxor is like that. The modern city of Luxor is like that. Is it?
No, 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 not really. No, no,
Yeah.
not really. They start to avoid the same mistake. They start to work out the mistake. You know, they don't make the same mistake with
Hmm.
the roads.
But Cairo is probably like that, right? Very confusing, it's easy to get lost, probably. I've never been there, but I imagine that's what it's like. Is that right?
Yeah. No, I'm
Okay.
not a big fan of Cairo. I don't like to go Cairo because
Hmm.
it's for a foreigner like me.
Hmm.
I'm not from there, so
Yeah.
it's very hard to
So
navigate your way.
if you're from southern Egypt and you visit Cairo, you consider yourself to be a foreigner?
Yes,
Really?
definitely.
Is that
Yes,
different? Is
yes.
it really that different?
I'm waiting for the minute to go home. Not my home. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
so Cairo is the perfect example to use like thread your way through. Like I thread my way through Cairo, meaning oh I had to turn left and then right and then left and I got lost and it's very confusing. That's how you use that phrasal verb. It means it's a very difficult to navigate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's try using that in a sentence to describe picture number 2, okay? Thread one's way through. So you say thread my way through, thread their way through, thread his way through. It means they were turning left and right and left and right. It was very confusing. How would you do that?
Okay, Toby was threading their way
Mhm. Let's
through
say, let's just say they,
the street.
let's say they again. So Toby and Holmes. And I think thread is not a very common verb. It's more of a noun, but I think it's irregular. I think it's like put. It's just thread, thread, thread. So
The thread, yeah.
they thread their way through
Mm.
the streets of London. What do you think about that? That's pretty fancy. That's a pretty fancy sentence right there using thread your way through.
Yes.
That's something only a native speaker would probably ever say. I'm going to put that sentence here for you to see. Can you say the sentence and pay attention to the key words, the words that you want to emphasize? Let's accentuate the really important words.
Okay. They thread their way through the streets of London.
Yeah, thread through streets, London. They thread their way through the streets of London.
Okay. Thread their
Okay.
way through the streets of London. Yes.
I don't think we'll use trail. Let's just stop here with thread their way through. And which one do you like more? Do you like they navigated through the streets of London, or do you like they thread their way through the streets of London?
We'll stick with thread.
Thread? You like that one? Thread? They thread their way through the streets of London. Okay. So let's add a time expression. I don't think we'll use before long. Let's start with letter B. As they pressed onward, which means it's kind of a fancy way of saying as they continued. So if you want someone to continue, even if it's difficult, you could say press onward. But most people wouldn't say that, but you could. So it kind of means as they continued, even though it was difficult. You could just say as they pressed onward. Oh, I forgot to copy it for you. Let me copy it for you. As they pressed onward. I think we've talked about that before, that the word on means continue sometimes. Like if someone is talking and you're listening to them tell a story, you say, yeah, go on, or carry on, or that word on sometimes could, like, oh, she talked on and on and on. That means like she continued talking and talking and talking. So it's very common to use the word on. It means continue. So press on, press means use a lot of force, and on like continue using a lot of force. So and word means in the direction of. So like they're continuing forward, even if it's hard. Let me just add these time expressions for you. So I've already done the first one for you. Here it is. But can you read it and stress the important words? Let's hear all of the important words being stressed in the phrase.
Okay. As they pressed onward, they thread their way through the streets of London.
Yeah, as they pressed onward, they thread their way through the streets of London. So press, thread, through, streets, and London get a lot of attention. As they pressed onward, they thread their way through the streets of London. And that's the natural rhythm of an English sentence. How about using as with Toby leading the way, with Toby leading the way.
Okay, with Toby leading the way, they thread their way through the streets of London.
Yes, and what are the important words in that phrase? With Toby leading the way.
Toby leading the way.
With Toby leading the way, lead and way, I think both of those. With Toby leading the way, they thread their way through the streets of London. Read it again.
With Toby leading the way, they thread their way through the streets of London.
Okay. Alrighty. So which one do you like better? As they pressed onward, like as they continued, even though it was kind of difficult, or with Toby leading the way? Which one do you think we should use?
I think I'll go for the first one because we've mentioned. I think we mentioned Toby already in the previous sentence.
I was thinking the same thing. It probably would be better not to mention Toby again. Okay. All right. So let's move down to the adverbs, and let's try to find a place to put the word purposely. Purposely. And I'm just going to recopy the sentence that we're using here. Yeah. Where could we put the word purposely?
We can put it before pressed onward, or we can put it after. At the purposely pressed onward, they thread their way through this. Yeah.
I think I would
put it before the. Yeah. Correct.
I think there might be a better place to put that than instead. I mean, you could say purposely pressed onward, but that's kind of redundant because if you're pressing, you're already doing it with purpose. It's hard, and you're trying hard to do it. So.
Okay. The purposely, as the press onward, they purposely thread their way.
Yeah.
Through the street. Yeah. So go before the second part.
Purposefully. Okay. All right. So let's read that with some accentuation to try to reduce the accent a little bit. We'll highlight the important words, the important sounds in the sentence. How does it sound?
Okay. And they pressed away. They purposely thread their way through the streets of London.
As they pressed onward, they purposefully thread their way through the streets of London. Okay. Now, what this next word is pretty fancy. Okay, and actually, that word as an adjective appeared in the story today. As a verb, it appeared as a verb, to err. To err. What does that mean? E-R-R, to err. That's a verb, to err. That's a pretty fancy word, to err.
To err. I can't remember err.
That comes from the same word as error.
Oh.
And it's usually like it's usually used in a phrase like this: to err on the side of. Okay. So let's use Cairo as an example here. Okay. Now you are Egyptian, but you're from Luxor. Cairo is a big city with a lot of crazy people in it. Okay. But you would feel more comfortable in Cairo than I would because you could speak the language, you know the culture, and so you might feel comfortable. Okay. But does that mean that you would
I
walk?
doubt it.
No, you wouldn't.
I doubt it. I doubt
You
it.
doubt it. But will you walk around with your cell phone or an expensive watch if you were walking around Cairo? Would people
Uh,
rob you in Cairo or is
and, and some places I wouldn't recommend it, but
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
mostly, yeah.
Well, you can now look. You could say Cairo is normally safe, but it's best to err on the side of caution, which means it's better to make the error of being too cautious than it is to
Okay.
make the error of being too comfortable.
Uh,
Does that make sense?
does yeah,
Let's see.
does.
Cairo is normally. Why do they normally safe? Okay. Okay. I'm going to copy this sentence to show you what it means. So it's better to make the error of being too cautious than it is to make the error of being too comfortable. That's really what it means. And you would call that erring on the side of caution, making the error of being too cautious than making the error of being too comfortable.
Okay.
Uh, let's see. I'm going to make another sentence here. Let's because it's kind of useful. I mean, it's a fancy word, but in more educated conversation, people use it a lot. Okay, it's probably not something you would hear in the street too much, but it is something that you would hear maybe if you're talking at the office or something. Like, yeah, if you're having a meeting, you might say, "Oh, let's err on the side of caution. Let's be too cautious instead of too comfortable," or something like that. Oh gosh, I had an idea, and now I forgot. I forgot which sentence I was going to make with this.
It will come back.
Okay, I have a job interview tomorrow, and I've practiced all of the answers to the questions, but I'm still erring on the side of doubt. What does that mean? How do you interpret that? I'm going to copy and paste that and put that in the Discord for you.
Okay. Okay.
That should be
I have a
practiced.
job interview tomorrow, and I have practiced all of the answer to the questions, but I'm still erring on the side of in the side of doubt.
What am I saying there?
If you have doubt, like
Uh-huh.
you're not fully confident.
Yeah,
Okay.
but do you think it's good to go to a job interview and feel really confident, or do you think it's better to go and feel some doubt when you go?
I would go for the second one.
Yeah,
You shouldn't be too confident.
that's right.
When you're confident, you make more mistakes, lots of mistakes.
That's what
Have to be like.
and that's what this sentence is saying. It's saying I'm erring on the side of doubt. I'm making the error of being more doubtful than making the error of being too competent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a pretty cool word, actually, to err. I've never talked about that in a class before. That's not something that comes up, but it's used. It's not weird. Okay.
I think I have heard it before. I think I have heard it before. I think you've mentioned it before, but that's long time ago.
I don't even remember mentioning it ever, but maybe. I mean, it's possible. It's not a weird thing to say. It's just a more elevated sort of thing to say. So, but it doesn't come up a lot. So this adverb unerringly, what does that mean? What does unerring mean? Just unerring.
If err means to make error,
Mhm.
an error means that just that unmistakable, like
Yeah,
just not make it.
that's right. That's what it means. Unerringly means without failing, without making a mistake, or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Can we put that somewhere? Is there anywhere we can put that inside of our sentence? Wait, I'm going to bring the sentence down here again. Let's see. So, purposefully and is there any place where you can say unerringly, meaning like they didn't make one mistake?
In the past, what is straight to history, to the street of Barbara, and the that's true. I missed it there.
Let me copy everything because I forgot to put this in Discord. Let me just copy what we put here. Okay. So we have our sentence. As they pressed onward, they purposely thread their way through the streets of London. Where could we put the word that means they didn't make one mistake? They had no problems. They didn't fail.
The the unerringly passed through the no. They passed what they unerringly thread through the way. Yeah, yeah. We replaced it with the what replaced purposefully.
Yeah, that's right. So what that would mean is like, well, they thread their way through the streets. So the streets were confusing, but they never made a mistake. They never failed. Does that make sense? Do you understand the sentence? Can you read the whole sentence and try to pay attention to the important words and how they should sound?
Sure, sir. Okay. They passed onward to they passed onward. They unerringly thread their way through the streets of London.
Okay, right. So that's a pretty fancy sentence that we've just made here. How about relentless, relentlessly? Do you know that word? Have you ever seen that word before, relentless?
I relentlessly. It's something like with no mistakes, with no.
That would be unerringly. That's unerringly. Yeah. Relentlessly means never stopping, never pausing.
Yeah, patience, more especially. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not really like patience. It's more like never stop. It could be very negative, like they're doing construction next to my bedroom, and there's the relentless sound of machines. Like the sound of machines never stops.
I said tenaciously.
Oh, tenaciously. Okay,
Like
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I was going to. No, I just tried to pronounce it, but I pronounced it tenaciously, like relentlessly.
Okay.
Something like tenacious.
All right, that's a good word. That's a pretty fancy word right there, tenaciously. Okay, where could we put that word inside of the sentence? Relentlessly. They never stopped. They never paused.
It's going as he passed on they tenaciously thread their way through. Yeah.
Okay, but let's use relentless. Relentlessly.
Oh, sorry, relentlessly. Sorry, relentless. So, or can we put it as they relentlessly passed onward? They.
Oh yeah, yeah, you could do that. Sure, that makes sense. Let's see. So we can say as they relentlessly put. That would be a lot of adverbs in one sentence, but we can do it. As they relentlessly pressed onward, they unerringly thread their way through the streets of London. Can you say the whole sentence? I'll copy and paste it and put it here.
They relentlessly, no, wait. As they relentlessly
Mm-hmm.
passed onward, they unerringly
Mm-hmm.
thread their way through the streets of London.
Oh, wow. Okay, which one do you think we should use? Do you like relentlessly, unerringly, just unerringly, or purposefully?
I guess we'll go for the last one,
Okay.
relentlessly,
Relentlessly
unerringly.
and
Post
unerringly.
the
Okay. All right. Now let's do the adjectives this time. We've got an interesting adjective here. The first adjective, let me copy and paste everything here for you, is labyrinthine or labyrinthine. Labyrinthine. I think I would say labyrinthine. Labyrinthine. But you could say labyrinthine if you want. I think both would be okay. Do you know what a labyrinth is?
no, any hints, like just any synonym, like anything like
Do you know what a maze is? M-A-Z-E?
a maze.
A maze, M-A-Z-E.
Yeah, yeah,
M-A-Z-E. Not amazing, maze, M-A-Z-E.
maze,
M-A-Z-E.
maze.
Maze.
No, I don't think.
You know, like when you're a child, you have like a picture and you draw a line and you have to draw the line with no breaks all the way to the other end.
Mhm.
Wait, let me show you a picture.
Yeah, I got you.
Just in case, I don't know, because I'm trying to describe this. Let's see. Like this, right? This is a maze. Oh, you know, I think I could probably just share this picture on Google Docs. Let me see. Just so if people watching don't know what a maze is, they can see this picture maybe. So yeah, I can put this here. These are mazes, but the green ones, like the bushes, probably you would call that a labyrinth. Or a labyrinth is like kind of like a maze that you could walk through. So it could be like the bushes, like the green ones. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen those before? Oh, a lot of times rich people back in the old days, they would have these for fun. They would they would create bushes or hedges with it was kind of a game to walk through it, right? Do you see that? Okay.
Never before.
No, you've never seen that before?
Never before.
Oh yeah,
Haven't seen that before.
that's what, like a couple hundred years ago, and I think even all the way like to ancient Rome and Greece they used to have them, because that there's part of the story in the Iliad or the Odyssey where somebody has to walk through a maze, like one of these, to find something. So they've been doing it for thousands of years, making these. It's kind of a game to try to walk through it and find the other side. Okay, but if it's really complicated or if you can walk through it, you can call it a labyrinth. Yeah. So labyrinth is just another word. It's kind of like the similar word as maze, but more complicated and probably something you could walk through. So if you say the building is really confusing, it's a labyrinth of hallways. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Or Cairo is really confusing. It's a labyrinth of streets.
Okay, that's quite right.
Yeah, and it's a kind of a fancy word. So, but it's not weird. It's not a weird thing to say. So you can definitely use it. Is that it? No, I don't think that's an I there. I would put a Y here. Let's see. Did I say it's wrong? Yeah, it does. I always thought that. Oh, the Y is here. Okay, that's why. Got the Y in the wrong place. Wait. Oh boy. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think I've got it now. Okay. So labyrinthine would be an adjective that means like a labyrinth. where could you put that inside of the sentence?
The labyrinthine street of,
Yeah,
or labyrinthine street as well.
yeah, labyrinthine streets of London. So we can put it there. Now that sounds very fancy. So that means it's like a labyrinth, it's like a maze. You could get really confused trying to go through, to walk through. Okay. Can you read the whole sentence using labyrinthine?
Sure. As they relentlessly
Relentlessly,
passed onward,
relentlessly.
as they relentlessly passed onward, they unerringly thread their way through the labyrinthine street of London.
Okay, perfect. What about the next word, bustling? Do you know that word? That's a pretty common word. I mean, it's not. Go ahead.
Can you put in a sentence, please?
I hate going to the market on Saturday because it's really bustling.
No way.
What do you think that means? I hate going to the market on Saturday because it's really bustling.
Bustling means it's annoying or.
It means a lot of activity. Too many people, too much activity, too much noise.
Bustling around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Usually, when you talk about a big city, you talk about the hustle and bustle of the city.
Hustle and bustle, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hustle and bustle.
So hustle means like working really fast, going really fast, and bustle means a lot of activity, a lot of noise, something like that. So how could we use bustle in this sentence? Where would we put that word bustle?
I'm going to bustle street of London.
The bustling streets of London. You can use that for any big city. If there's people running around, lots of cars, lots of traffic, lots of horns. Cairo, again, could be bustle. Is always bustling city. I imagine it's a very noisy place with a lot of people.
But by the way, we built a new capital in Egypt.
I saw about that. I saw pictures. I've been seeing pictures of it over the past few years. It seems like a really big experiment. Is it working out well?
That's okay, but it's very coastal.
It's very what?
Coasty. They're coastal.
Oh, very expensive. Very expensive. Costly. Okay, I think it's a coastal, like it's on the ocean. But yeah, I know they spent a lot of money on it. I've seen some pictures of it, and it looks like it might be interesting, but they're not finished with it, right? It's not finished yet, is it?
No.
Have you been there?
Like a
Have you seen it?
No. Not yet. Not yet.
What is your opinion of it? Do you think that it would be a nice place?
Yeah, but from the cost point of view, it will it will like put a burden or pressure on the economy at the moment for a while. But I think for the future, going to be okay. But I don't know.
It would be interesting to see the final result, how it is.
I don't think we'll be able to see it. Maybe our grandsons or something like that.
Oh, you think it's going to take so long to finish it? I thought they were trying to finish it like 2030 or something.
No, we cannot have it finished. We built a few good buildings over there, but still, it was a desert. It was a huge desert.
But that's like the city in Saudi Arabia that they're building, Naom. That they think they wanted to finish that by 2030, but it's probably not going to happen.
They're not going to be able to finish it by 2030. I think they need to extend it.
I'd really like to see how they finish it. It seems interesting. Seems like an interesting place. but we'll see. All right. Probably the other adjective, unwavering, we probably won't use that one. I don't think. I mean, that means like they never stopped. So it's kind of like relentless, but we've already got relentless, and I don't know. Let's just delete that one. So what do you like? Do you like labyrinthine or bustling?
I will stay with labyrinthine
Labyrinthine?
because of the
Okay.
pronunciation.
Okay.
Labyrinthine.
Labyrinthine. You could say labyrinthine if you want, but I just say labyrinthine. Okay. All right.
But a lesson like this need to repeat it or review it 3 or 4 times.
Well, that's the good thing about repeating like the same sentence over and over again. We keep using a lot of these are new words or new ideas, so it's good to by the time you're finished, you're repeating it like 6 or 7 times. So it's good for the memory. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to the relative clause. I think we'll probably stop with this one. So all we did were 2, but that's not bad. I think we did a lot of work.
But that's more than enough.
That's more than enough. It's a lot. Because we've been doing this almost for 2 hours, so that's a lot of work. Okay. So the first relative clause, I don't think that we can use it because it's about Toby, unless we make a new sentence. Maybe B.
Yeah, who is this?
Unless, do you want to try to make a new sentence? Do you want to try to make a sentence with who refused to lose the scent? You'll have to make some kind of comment about Toby, though. What would you say about him?
Unfortunately, we ignored the Toby like a few minutes ago, ignored them. We just okay.
So you think we should just ignore this and move to letter B?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Where could we put now? Do you remember? I think we've talked about the word wind before. I remember talking about that several times last year. Do you remember that? Wind? What does that mean? Wind?
It's something. It's something like wind means like faint, like try to disappear or like.
Wind means to move in a circle. So like if you have a watch where you have to turn, kind of means like turn. So you wind your watch. Or those old toys where you have to like move something in the back. You twist or you turn, and then the toy will move. That's a winding toy. What do you think it would mean if I said winding streets of London? What does that mean?
Like it's not a street, straight. It's like it's like going circles. Like
yes, it's used all the time to talk about something that isn't straight. A winding road, a winding river. It's used. That means it's not straight. It goes to the left. It goes to the right. It turns. It twists. It does all kinds of things. And wind is irregular. So you have wind, wound, wound. Okay. So where do you think we could put this? Did I give you the relative clauses? Yeah. Okay. So we're doing letter B. That wound through the crowded streets of London. Where could we put that inside of the sentence? Maybe we have to make a new sentence. Let me help you. Okay. They followed the track, like Toby tracking the evidence. And then we could finish it with this.
Okay.
Or they followed the scent. Let's say they followed the scent. I'm putting this in Discord right now for you. Okay. So how would you finish that with letter B?
Kriget kontrastet på stirret och så var det trodde
I created a new sentence for you to make it much
But-
easier.
och det I think look, but I think we have the street of London as well.
Uh-huh.
The streets of London.
Yeah.
Are we going to be the same, or are we going to get rid of?
Well, maybe, we can get rid of London. So that we could just say that wound through the crowded streets. That might be better. We know it's London, so we don't have to mention.
Let's see. Yeah.
So how would that sound if you put that at the end of the sentence to give more information? So they followed the scent.
They followed the scent that wind through the crowded street.
Oh, that wound through the crowded streets. Okay. Does that sound weird? Let's see. As they relentlessly pressed onward, they unerringly thread their way through the labyrinthine streets of London. They followed the scent that wound. Yeah, it's kind of repetitive. It sounds a little bit weird. They followed. Well, we'll just keep it for right now. We know it sounds weird, but we'll keep it because how could we fix that? They unerringly thread their way. What would probably be best is just use just use winding as through the winding labyrinthine streets. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
Okay, so no relative clause here. It's just much better this way. But
if you're going to use, sorry.
Go ahead.
If you want to use it, we can get rid of labyrinthine.
Yeah.
We'll come back at it. But it's yeah.
Let's just keep it because it's a new fancy word. So let's practice saying it.
Uh-huh.
All right, but we could use letter C. We could add this letter C. Where would you put that?
Would attract the curiosity. You're going to go at the end.
Okay. Well, first of all, though, what does the word bewildered mean? Bewildered.
The curiosity of bewildered. Bewildered means, I don't know what I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess bewildered pedestrian, the people just walking around or just try to figure out what's going on.
Bewildered means really confused.
Okay.
So think probably a lot of people 130 years ago watching some man and a dog running through the streets while the dog is sniffing something, they would be looking like, what is he doing? So they're really confused. And what is a pedestrian?
Pedestrian people just walking the street.
Yeah, that's right. That PED means like foot. Like like a podiatrist is a foot doctor.
Okay.
Have you seen that word before? Podiatrist? That's a foot doctor.
I learned the names of doctors before, but I just forget what. I learned the list, the whole list. I forget what.
Yeah. So that PED means foot. Okay. So people who are on foot is what pedestrian means. People not in a car, not on a horse, but on foot. People walking around. Okay. So we can put that at the end, which attracted the curiosity of bewildered pedestrians, of the confused people walking around. Okay. I'm just going to copy and paste this sentence. I want you to read the whole thing from beginning to end, and I want you to concentrate on the important words. Give me a lot of sound for the important words.
Okay. and they relentlessly pass onward, they unerringly thread through the way. No, sorry, start again.
Through the winding
And they
streets.
relentlessly pressed onward, they unerringly thread their way through the winding,
Winding, winding, winding. Mhm.
labyrinthine,
Labyrinthine,
winding
labyrinthine.
labyrinthine,
Labyrinth.
winding labyrinthine streets of London, which attract the curiosity of bewildered pedestrians.
Okay, pedestrians, pedestrians,
Pedestrians.
Mhm.
Pedestrians.
Yeah, I'll read it. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to emphasize the important sounds. So that's like the
Okay.
natural rhythm of English. That will reduce your accent. As they relentlessly pressed onward, they unerringly thread their way through the winding labyrinthine streets of London, which attracted the curiosity of bewildered pedestrians.
Bewildered pedestrians.
Yeah, so big, small, big, small, big, small. Okay, so we've got two sentences. We've built two monster sentences. I'm going to post them both up here. We're going to read through the whole thing one time, and then I guess we'll finish for now. I'm going to come back in like 6 hours. Wait, what time is it?
Okay.
Oh, actually in about 3 or 4 hours I'll come back. And I'm going to do a nerd video about the periodic table. So that'll be in about 3 or 4 hours. But let me get this up here. Make some space. Okay, and now I'm going to put that whole thing into Discord. And so can you read the whole thing starting with at the outset of the investigation? So we built all of this today.
Okay. At the outset of the investigation, the evidence which emitted a distinctive odor of creosote.
Creosote. Creosote. Yeah. Creosote. I don't know if that's. I don't even know. I've never heard that word before, but I guess it's creosote. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. So, at the outset of the investigation, the evidence which emitted the distinctive odor of creosote was presented to Holmes, and he meticulously scrutinized it.
What does scrutinize mean? Yeah, we did. What does it mean? Do you remember?
Scrutinize. It means just like move quickly or
scrutinize means to look at something very carefully.
Carefully.
So Holmes, what was Holmes looking at very carefully?
I think he was holding the stick in his hand.
It was a stick. Okay, the evidence. It was the evidence. He was scrutinizing the evidence. He was looking at the evidence very, very carefully. Okay. Go ahead. Press onward.
Okay. So I start from
start with.
I stopped, or
start with Toby. Just start with Toby.
Toby, whose extraordinary sense of smell never failed him, led the way as they relentlessly pressed onward. They unerringly thread their way through the winding labyrinthine. labyrinthine street of London, which attracted the curiosity of bewildered pedestrians.
Pedestrians. Okay. Oh, wow. Well, that's quite a sentence for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think thank you for participating today, and I'll be back in about 4 hours from now, 3 or 4 hours.
I'll be here if you need that.
And we'll make a nerd video. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for your comments and questions, and we'll be back a little bit later with more monster sentence building. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
See you later. Bye-bye.